assembled. Today, we have a special treat. We have a special storyteller. He's so special that they tried to put K after his name. In fact, they did. That's an American joke. Anyhow, Michael Kerrin, and did I say it correct?
Nope.
Uh-oh, correct me.
Plural.
Pluto. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Kerrins with an S at the end.
Oh, plural. Okay. Michael Kerrins. Okay. So I'm hearing that we are now live. I'm admitting Alistair, and as they would say in the olden days, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Baba. So I've got a story to tell you. I've got a wee book about the story. I'm going to show you the book as well. But before we do all of that, just because Louis is in fancy dress, I had an international meeting and we were talking about the different noises that animals make in different languages. Like I think that dogs say like bark noises, woof, woof. But in other countries, dogs don't say woof, woof. They say row, row, or they say other noises. And they might even say yap, yap, yap if they're wee tiny dogs. So I wonder if it's the same for sheep. Alistair, I'll say goodbye before I say hello. It will be sad to see you go. So all these different animals make all their own different noises. But Louis, as the king of the jungle, I need to ask you about a lion. Okay? What kind of lion doesn't make any noise at all?
Demon lion?
No. Keith Rogers, you're smart.
Oh, God, well.
You're not that
I
smart.
don't get that description very often.
Do you know?
I do.
I want to tell everybody.
I think it might be a tad floral, this. I think it might
is
be
indeed.
It might be a dandelion.
Dandelion.
A dandelion doesn't roar.
Hey, excellent.
Although I know a few dandies who are anything but silent.
The dandies I know are anything but lions, let me tell you. Anyway, let me tell you a story. This is a story about wee Tom. For those of you who don't know wee Tom, he's a tiny little boy like this. He's about the size of a thumb. In lots of cultures, they call him Tom Thumb. If we were French, perhaps we would call him Tom Pouce. If we were a German, we would call him Daumling. If we were Russian or Ukrainian, we would call him Malchik Spalchik. It doesn't really matter. In my story, he's called Wee Tom, and he is wee, but he is not a midget, a dwarf, a fairy, a goblin, an elf, a sprite. He's not a superhero that pulls his underpants over his trousers and then goes flying through the air. Alexandra, привет. So, all this stuff's going on, and he's just an ordinary boy, but he just happens to be very small. And in every wee Tom story you get, well, you'll get Uncle Dan. And Uncle Dan is a magnificent man. He's so tall and so strong and so, he's just kind of a bit like myself, but he's really, really marvelous at doing stuff. I'm not very practical. Uncle Dan and wee Tom were going on holiday, and they were on the train. And on the train, Uncle Dan is sitting in the seat and wee Tom standing on the table. And they're playing at Travel Bingo. And at Travel Bingo, Uncle Dan had made cards. And on these cards, there were different animals. There was all the animals you'll get in the countryside. Here you get deer and grouse and pheasant. And in farms, you get sheep and goats and pigs. And as each animal or each event, like a tractor or somebody carrying milk, they would scroll this off to get bingo, to get bingo, to get bingo. And once all the images are covered, then that person to be first to do that will be the winner. And they were looking for a horse, and both of them actually were looking for a horse, couldn't see it. Geese, 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 and marked it off. Uncle Dan didn't have geese. Ducks, ducks, ducks. Wee Tom didn't have ducks. And then it just went on like that until Uncle Dan stopped the game. Stop the game. I've just remembered we're going on holiday and I didn't bring your bed. Wee Tom said, I can't stand sleeping in an ordinary person bed. An ordinary person's bed is too long, it's too wide, it's too high, it's just so uncomfortable for me, Uncle Dan. Will you make me a bed? Uncle Dan said, I was just about to say, but don't worry, I'll make a bed just for you. And when they got to the holiday place, it was the seaside. They got to the end of the railway line. They went into a little boat. It chugged across, chugged across, chugged across, chugged across, 5 chugs until it was across onto the island. And there on the island, well, they had to find something to make the bed with. But honestly, both of them were very, very tired. And Uncle Dan said, I'll tell you what, I'll put a pillow down. It won't be as long as a bed. It won't be as wide as a bed. It won't be as high as a bed. And that will do you in the meantime. And tomorrow we'll start afresh. So they walked to their hotel, and it wasn't really a hotel. It was more a kind of like, nowadays it's called Airbnb kind of thing. It's like a house that you buy, but you can, I don't know. Anyway, that's where they were. And they were in this house and they had some groceries with them, and they had some different treats, some chocolates, some candy bars. That's a wee line for Baba C there because I'm international. So they had all the stuff going on. And the next morning when wee Tom woke up, the bed, although it was a pillow, was too long. It took him ages to walk there, ages. He looked at the side, he looked at the top, he looked at the bottom, and then he decided just to slip off onto the floor. And he said to his uncle, Uncle Dan, I can't stand that. That's far too long, even though it was a pillow, far too wide, even though it was a pillow. And really, it was far too high. I had to slide down very cautiously. The Uncle Dan said, it's no problem, darling boy, because I've got the very thing for you here. And to go back to Baba C's joke at the beginning, the special K was actually cornflakes, a big box of breakfast cereal. And he took his hand in, and there's a lovely crunchy poke in there. And he lifted the whole bag of breakfast cereal and put it to the side. And then he lifted the little boy in and said, try this. And he put him in. And he said, well, wee Tom, what do you think of that? I'm asking you a question. Wee Tom's very mouthy boy. You don't know him very well. I know Paul knows him, but you don't know him very well. I know Natalia knows him. What do you think of that? 3 times, 4, 5. Wee Tom's favourite number is 5 because he's got 5 names. Thomas, Patrick, James, O'Neill, Thumb. 5 times Uncle Dan asked him, what do you think of the box? And then when he got there and he looked right inside the box, wee Tom was cowering in the corner. He was afraid. He was shaky. I'm frightened in here, he said. It's too dark. It's too gloomy. The atmosphere's covered in dust and powder, and it's so crummy in here. It's crummier than John Rowe's jokes in here. It's so awful in this place. I can hardly breathe. Uncle Dan lifted up the little boy and slid right down like that. And he was orange, absolutely orange from head to toe, from all the dust and powder and crumbs that were inside the cornflakes packet. Give yourself a shake. And he gave a shake. And all the stuff came off. And it landed in a little triangle shape, just like that. And we Tom went over to it, and with a 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, 4 breaths, 5, that's his favourite number, 5 breaths, he blew all the dust away. And he said, we're not using that box, Uncle Dan. And no siree. But his uncle said, but that box is a very good box. It's absolutely ideal for that. That's a perfect box for you. I'll cut it. I'll get the vacuum cleaner and I'll hoover up all the dust and all the powder. I'll get sharp, very, very, very sharp scissors. I'll cut that all round. And it will be long enough. It'll be wide enough. It'll be high enough. It'll be perfect just for you. And wee Tom said, I'm not being clear about this, Uncle Dan. I don't like that box. I don't want to have anything to do with that box. And I think I'll not go back in that box full size or cut to the right size. So whatever you think, I'm not doing that. I don't want to use that box. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. So they had their breakfast cereal and they had a little talk about it. And then later on, Uncle Dan was making some toast, like a snack breakfasty thing. And as he was putting the, now I can believe it's not butter because I've tasted it, but some people can't believe it's not butter. I can quite easily believe that is not butter. Anyway, it was getting spread onto the warm bread. Brown bread, they're very healthy eaters. And as they're spreading this along, Uncle Dan has a look at this full tub of this butter substitute thing. Hi, John. I hope you're well, darling. There's a blowy kiss. There's a blowy kiss. And one more. So, there you go. The toast. He looks at this toast and he starts to eat it. And as he's eating, he's getting a think in his head. And he takes a saucer, a big saucer, and he scoops out all of this butter substitute onto the saucer. And he washes and dries that tub. And he gives it to wee Tom. He washed it 5 times, wee Tom's favourite number. And he rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it dry. And then, as it was absolutely perfect, he said to wee Tom, try that. And he lifted wee Tom up by the armpits like this. He puts his fingers in wee Tom's arms and he lifted them up and he put him onto the bed. The margarine tub was to be a perfect bed. And wee Tom started to slip and slide and slide and slide. And as he started to slide down, he went below Uncle Dan's eye line. And Uncle Dan said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And wee Tom said in a very soft voice, I'm sinking. I'm sinking. I'm sinking. His right leg went to the right. His left leg went to the left. And he started to splay out and splay out and splay out. Oh my God, it's awful. Uncle Dan said, just a minute, hold on. And he put his fingers into wee Tom's armpits, closed them up, closed the armpits, and lifted the wee boy clear. Well, there you go. That was awful. Oh, wee Tom said, Uncle Dan, do you remember? Now, I don't think any of you know this story. Maybe Ronna Barber knows it. Wee Tom broke his leg on a skiing accident some stories ago, right? He never wants to break his leg again. That's just out there for everybody. So he said, Uncle Dan, I was terrified in that slidey bed that I was going to fall and break my leg. Uncle Dan said, I've got sandpaper. I've got my tool. Get with me. Don't worry. We'll get sandpaper and we'll rub all of this everywhere. And we'll make it rough and it won't be slidey. I said, but if you make it rough, it'll be uncomfortable. I don't want to. No. That margarine tub, I can't believe it's not butter. I can believe it's not butter. Well, there you go. We're not having that. Still no bed. 2 crisis. Well, Uncle Dan put wee Tom in his pocket like this. And they went off into town. And in the town, they saw this magnificent cafe called the Red Parrot Cafe. And standing outside was a very lumpy woman. She was chewing gum. She's trying to stop smoking. There's always a wee health message in wee Tom stories. Don't start smoking, then you don't need to stop smoking. And she's chewing this. And as she blows a big bubble of gum like this, she says, well, she's chewing upstairs or downstairs. And both pals, wee Tom and Uncle Dan, said at the same time, "Upstairs, please, Jinx!" And up they went. And the lumpy woman went up after them to take the order. Well, they couldn't get a seat. There was going this way and that way and that way and this way. And then when they got to the end of the restaurant, they were at the table overlooking downstairs, overlooking the kitchen. But on the other side, there was a view of an archery contest that was going on there with people firing bows and arrows like this. So wee Tom's walking up and down the table, walking up and down the table, walking up and down the table. And they have their sandwich, they have a snack, they have some tea for Uncle Dan, some orange juice for wee Tom. It just comes in a little tiny, like almost like a thimble that people would use for sewing. And he's having that with a tiny piece of chocolate. And everything's just lovely. And then wee Tom walks to the very end of the table and he looks down and he sees inside the kitchen, he sees the chef just about to make fresh omelettes. And as he strikes the match to light the gas, wee Tom says, "That matchbox, Uncle Dan, that matchbox looks the part." And Uncle Dan asked the waitress when she came past, "Could you ask the chef if I could have a matchbox, please?" "Absolutely not," said the woman. She was very friendly usually, very helpful always. She said, "No smoking. There's been no smoking in any cafes in Scotland and pretty much across Europe, maybe even across the world, for many a year now. No smoking." Uncle Dan said, I loathe smoking. I don't smoke, don't want to smoke, don't like smoking. But I'm going to tell you this. I think I've got shoes on my feet, but I'm not walking. I've got a tune in my head, but I'm not singing. I've got a pen in my pocket, but I'm not writing. I would like that matchbox to see if it'll be long enough, if it'll be wide enough, and if it'll be high enough to be a bed for my wee pal, my darling nephew, wee Tom." And wee Tom said, "It was my idea." So that was it. The matchbox was brought up and wee Tom stood against it. It was long enough. It was wide enough. Wide enough. Uncle Dan got the empty matchbox and wee Tom lay down in it, and then he started to tap the sides. Bit rough and not very comfortable. Uncle Dan said, "We'll sort that out. I told you I've got sandpaper with me. I've got my whole toolkit with me." So that was fine. They got the box and they went home. But before they went home, they went to the pharmacy. And in the pharmacy, they bought the extra super soft 5-layer, wee Tom's favourite number as it happens to be, is five layers of cotton wool pleats. So they got this home and they put the pleats of cotton wool in first level to be warm, to be cozy, to be comfortable, to be soft, and the fifth floor to be as luxurious as Hollywood. 5 layers mattress inside this box. Cotton wool. No, it's just not balls. It's not that kind of show, Babasy. It's more kind of like layers. I think it might be called pleats. Paul Davies knows he's international toiletry linguistics. So with these 5 layers there, the luxurious Hollywood thing at the very end was just perfect. Wee Tom lay back and said, "Oh, I don't have a pillow for my head. This bed is long enough," and it was long enough. "It's wide enough," and it was wide enough. "And it's just the right height for me to climb in and climb out without any problem whatsoever. But I'm not very keen. I'm not very keen on no pillow." So Uncle Dan said, "Well, I'll get a pillow for you." And she went over into the kitchen, and there beside the kettle, there was a coffee, there was tea, obviously, sugar, and so on. And from the middle container, he took a tea bag, one tea bag, and he very carefully, with sharp scissors, snipped off the corner of the tea bag and emptied all of the tea out, all of the tea out. And then he started to get the scissors and he used them as little pliers to pick up cotton wool from pleats, not balls, and put them in, and put them in, and put them in, and put them in, and put more in until the tea bag, the skeleton of the tea bag, was stuffed with cotton wool. And it was just a delight. Now, Uncle Dan was in the army, and in the army, well, he can do lots of things. He can speak foreign languages. He can tightrope walk, he can juggle, he can knit, and he can sew. And with a sharp needle, he sewed a little repair on the cut corner of the tea bag. And he gave it to wee Tom. And he said, now, how's that? And then, with a pillow on his head like this, oh, he said, this is just lovely. But you know, I'm a bit cold. I'm a bit cold. So Uncle Dan got some paper towel and he folded it and 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 made sure it was just the right length, the right width, and the right thickness to be a warm, comfortable cover for the little boy. And then he put it inside one of Uncle Dan's socks. He cut the top off. No, he didn't cut the top off. He was going to cut the top off. He folded it back. Waste not, want not. He is Scottish after all. And then he sewed it up and he tucked it under wee Tom's chin, like that. Wee Tom was lying there. And Uncle Dan was really, he was pretty chuffed with himself. He said, you know, that was pretty good. What do you think of that? I said, wee Tom, I've worked very hard on that bed, a couple of hours on this. What do you think of the bed? What do you think? 5 times, what do you think of that bed? And he went over, and then he saw the bed covers going up and down. He saw wee Tom's eyes closed. And he heard, ever so gentle, a tiny child snore, a tiny, tiny snore from a child. And wee Tom was fast asleep. Do you want to know what wee Tom was dreaming about? You want to know? Well, I'll finish it by reading the last line of the story. Uncle Dan smelt himself as he turned and went out of the room, leaving his nephew to dream in peace. So if you want to know what happened and what wee Tom dreamt about, then just ask me, because that's another story. That's the end of wee Tom and the new bed. Would you like to see some pictures from the book?
Now that has to be the smallest tall tale I've ever heard.
Oh, there's 86 of them at the moment. So this is the cover of the book. This is the back of the book. So the uncle's jacket is always something to do with the story. So wee Tom always wears red, as you know, and the uncle here is wearing pajamas. Okay? And then that's wee Tom trying to get his uncle's attention, but you never see Uncle Dan's face. You just see bits of him because he's too big to fit into the thing. And then he needs a bed that's big enough and wide enough and so on. Needs to do that, and that's a difficult thing when you're only that size. So there's the cornflakes, rice cereal substitute, whatever you want to call it. That's it there. And he's not happy in there. I love the way the artist used all this grey ink in there. Do you see that? So much grey. She's very clever. And there he is, covered in the crumbs. He's not happy. You know, for a cheery boy, he's often not happy. It's interesting. And there's his puzzle. Do you believe it's butter? I don't. My lawyer said to me, I'll need to be careful that they don't hear about it. And there's the tub. I'm sinking. And then they go to the cafe, and there she is. Maria Nikolaevna, who's the Homerton Professor of Children's Literature at the University of Cambridge, she loves this character. She says it's really marvellous to have an old woman who's not pretty in a book for children, and she's not a baddie. She's not a wicked witch. She's cruel. She's not cruel. She's very helpful, and she's lumpy. And there they're having their snack. I missed this bit of the story out because this is kind of tossing the caber, and it might not go well internationally. But anyway, Scottish men pick up trees and throw them about the place. And there's the chef with the matches. There's the chef with the matches. The folk thought it was a bad idea to have the matches lit, so there's no image of that. So there's just that. And there she's saying, no smoking. There's always an image. There's always a message in Tom stories. No smoking. She gets the matchbox because she's a problem solver. And there's wee Tom in the matchbox. And it's long enough and wide enough and deep enough. It's just right. There's your cotton wool balls. I don't know what like balls are in Ireland. Where do you live? It's not Ireland. Oh, Canada. Yeah, they're going to take you over, I heard. There's cotton wool pleats. Thank you for that handy tip, Paul Davis. And there's the tea bag. And Uncle Dan, of course, has to rescue the tea bag. There you go. That's the tea bag that's been sewn by the uncle. Do you see the repair? I don't know if they're worldwide. Natalia, chai and malinki paket paruskia. Do you get that? Da? Okay, yeah, you get them in Russia.
Just the same.
Just the same. Spasiba. So there it is, and there comes the stuffing for his cover. It's got to get blown up to be this 5 luxury layers. And then it goes into his bed, and then the end. I hope you enjoyed it.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
But how
no,
could we not enjoy it? You were the teller.
yeah, no, it's real nice story, well told. It's great.
Yep.
Thank you very
Now
much.
you've made me want to really get my book published. But
Oh,
first,
look at this.
you're writing it.
Hold on, Paul.
Oh,
I'm going to, just a wee minute, Paul. I'm going to pin that, and then I'm going to take a photo of it. That's so cool. Oh, there's matches in it.
oh.
It's okay. We'll use it for. I'll not take it into schools or anything with matches in it. So that was funny.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Oops. Great. So welcome, Rona, and welcome, Lucy, and welcome, Natalia. So thank you for joining me. So what another story? This is a Scottish fairy tale about a great baker. Once there was a marvelous baker. Her name was Katie, and she lived at the top of a hill. And at the top of the hill, she had to walk down the hill until she came to her shop. And her shop was at the kind of, it really became the middle of the village because it was such a hub of activity, like in the days before social workers or kind of like these centres or anything like that. This was the time when fortunes made themselves. And Katie was very good at baking. She was good at baking bread, and she was good at baking sweet things like cakes and cookies and stuff like that. One day when Katie was going down the hill, she felt a tug just on her leg going down the hill. And she looked down to see what it was. But she couldn't see anything. There was nothing there. So she went back down onto the shop, opened up early in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock. She gets the fires lit. She gets the ovens heated up. She starts to put the things in. And then she makes tomorrow's bread today by getting the yeast and all that prepared and setting it aside. So she's really busy before the people start to come in these 2 hours at 8 o'clock or whenever. By the time it comes to 8:30, the place is buzzing with people. By the time it comes to 6:30, when she's finished the shop at 5 and cleaned up and everything and got all the baking tins ready for the next day and the bread ready, the tomorrow's bread ready today kind of thing, she's got that all organised. It's time to go back up to her house. And on her way up to her house, she gets this tug on her leg. And that happens 3 days in succession. And on the 3rd day going back up, she looks down and tugging on her leg, trying to pull her into the ground, and a hole in the ground was this tiny little fairy with see-through gossamer wings. And Katie said, "What are you doing, fairy, fairy? What are you doing?" And the fairy closed his eyes and said, "Don't look at me, don't look at me. I shouldn't see you, you shouldn't see me." "Too late," said Katie. "It's happened already." "What is it?" "Well, it's going to be the king's birthday, the king of the fairies, that is, birthday, and you're required to make a cake for the king." She said, "No problem." "No problem. But you don't understand. Once you work for us forever, and you can never come back here to this hill where you live at the top and work at the bottom." Oh, Katie said, "No, no, 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 no. I make cakes and biscuits and bread and all kinds of sweet things, scones. My scones are famous. I make them for the lords and dukes and everybody. I can make them for your king, no problem. But you should come to the shop and buy." And this, she didn't get finishing the sentence, which was, "You should come to the shop and buy them," when she was suddenly pulled underground. And there in this huge chamber she was, with the king of the fairies sitting there, demanding a birthday cake, and that she should work with him forever. And Katie said, "But I've got my clientele, my life, and everything." "Forever," said the king. "Well," Katie said, "I'll make your cake, but it's my rules. It's you're the king of the fairies, but making is I'm the queen of the fairy I'm the queen of the fairy cakes, if you like. I'm the queen of this. So whatever I say goes, and we're using my ingredients. But we have all the ingredients here," said the king of the fairies. "The best cakes come from the best ingredients and the best equipment." So fairies were sent to fly through the keyhole of the shop, and collect things and bring them through the keyhole and bring them back to their regular size, and take them up halfway up the mountain or halfway down the mountain, the hillside, and get them there to the Katie to make the thing. And it was all kinds of stuff: the big blue and white stripy bowl, That was important. The two wooden spoons, one's got a slight crack in it. Very important for stirring extra air into the mixture. All this stuff was over. What do you want in it?
And on all this first,
Cherries, no problem. Fruit, yeah, no problem. Chocolate, yeah, no problem.
there would be a special tiller.
All this stuff. And tell you what we'll do,
Celebrating
even put an extra layer of crushed up
anniversary.
Special K, and the recipe as old as Babassy's jokes. Crush it up and crush it up and crush it up. Sorry, pardon me. A recipe as old as both of Babassy's jokes, crushing them,
Oh,
and put them into the mix and mix them all up 5 times, mix them all up 10 times, mix them all up. And then she said, now I need eggs. I need eggs from my yard, not down the way. I need them up the way, fresh laid today. Don't waken the dog. Waken the dog. Don't waken the dog. Why not to waken the dog? Said one of the fairies with a big voice. Why not to waken the dog? Well, if you waken the dog, they'll be barking and there'll be a hullabaloo and people will come and look and they'll catch you and they will put you in a jar and charge a penny a look. I won't do that. I will never do that. Just be careful. So the bravest of the brave fairies were sent up the hill and they had special kind of dampers on their wings that they could still beat. By Keith, they could still beat very briskly, but absolutely silently. And as these beating wings were going up the hill, they were sign language. And some of the fairies were busy doing, for so long, they were flapping with one wing that they were going round in circles, wasting time. 2 flaps, not 1 flap, 2 flaps, round and round and round. And then looking around for the dog, in through the keyhole of Katie's house, out the back into the yard, and there they saw the hens. Now there were so many hens they didn't know what to take, but they were told get brown eggs, brown shells. So they got, bye Keith. Off they went. They got all the brown eggs they could carry. Some of them were fresh. They had to even just lift the hens up to get that done. And then, as they were going down the hill, one egg fell from the fairy. Dropped like that, fell. And as it fell down to falling, some of the other fairies went underneath it and came up and caught it with their feet in the air, like a little cup made of their feet. And the egg was not smashed and no evidence was left. There had been some kind of shenanigans going on there, a malarkey, if you will. So down they went. Now, pick a number. 47, that's as good a number as any. 47 eggs were cracked into that bowl. 47 eggs were cracked into that bowl. 47 eggs were cracked into that bowl. And they were beaten up with the ordinary wooden spoon. With the, bye Alistair, thank you for staying so long. Bye. Spinning, spinning. And all of that was going, gone. That was marvellous. And suddenly, the mixture was absolutely ready to go into the oven. But they had no cake tins. Well, we need big, this is a big mixture, so we need the biggest cake tins from the shop. No clattering and no banging, because the people down there, if they see you or hear you, they will catch you, they'll put you in a jar, and they'll charge a penny a look.
early period.
Off they went. Their wings beating furiously,
Fourth,
quietly as they could go,
yeah.
through the keyhole,
The actual
opened the door,
day.
lifted up the
You-
biggest tins.
However,
The tins are metallic.
Griot celebrates his birthday all month long.
Me too, but it's not till August.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was unmuted. My apologies.
lifted up this big tin, and the one below it, and the one below it, until these like three-tier cake, like that. Big one, smaller one, smaller. But they were very, 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 very big tins, the biggest tin she had, square shapes, and it was going to be lovely. Katie also does a great decoration on the cake. And as she got this cake mixture right inside, squished into every corner, she said, now this needs to go into the oven now. And the only oven this can go into is the oven that I've got set in my house. It's ready for this mixture. Oh, no, said the king. No, 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 no. This is a trick you're playing on us. You want to get outside there so you don't need to come back in. Katie said, I've promised that I will not endanger you. I will not put you in a jar. I will not charge a penny a look. I'll not let anybody get you or anything like that. But my promise is to this cake. This cake is ready. And she did this N-O-W. This mixture is now critical. It has to go in the next 5 minutes. Standoff. Katie looked at the king. The king looked at Katie. And the king knew that Katie was serious. The king didn't know anything about. He knows about people catching fairies and putting them in a jar and charging a penny a look, but he doesn't know anything about baking. Okay, let's go. And the whole troop, every single fairy was needed to lift these 3 very vast, very heavy cake tins, packed to the brim with cake mixture. And the cakes would just rise right up. Only if they go in now into the big oven at the house that's ready. And as they went up, flying up, flying up, flying up, Katie was being carried as well. It's a big woman. And they carried her up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. And when they got up the hill, and then at the top of the hill, Katie's yard, in that place, Katie started coughing. Oh, just put me down here, I'll walk the rest. Shh, said all the fairies. Don't waken the dog. Oh, what dog? Said Katie. Your dog. I haven't got a dog. I don't own a dog. You don't own a dog? So you are a liar. I knew it, said the king of the fairies. All humans are all the same. I'd like to just shut you out like this. No. I told you I won't put you in a jar. I told you I won't let people charge a penny a look. And you didn't believe me. I mentioned about wakening a dog. I haven't even got a dog. I never said I had a dog. I didn't tell any lies. You know what? There are some people, and it seems now there are some fairies too, that only believe what they want to believe. They don't believe the truth. They don't even believe their version of the truth. They just believe what they feel like believing. And you felt like not trusting me. Well, Your Majesty, that cake's going to go in there. And I'm going to tell you this. If this is not the best cake you've ever tasted, I'll come and work for you forever. But if it is the best cake you've ever tasted, I'll bake you a cake every year on your birthday. But you should buy it like any other customer. Send a note, tell me what you want, and leave 3 gold coins, and I will make any cake you like. Coffee, cream, chocolate, strawberry, raspberry, tutti frutti. I'll make it and I'll bake it to the best of my abilities. It took a while for the cakes to bake, obviously, because they were massive. It took a while for them to cool down. But you know this? It didn't take less than a minute for those 3 massive cakes to disappear. And it wasn't magic. It was famine. Because when the fairies ate it, they ate it. And the king just said 3 words. See you soon. That's the story of Katie McCafferty.
And an excellent story it was.
Thank you very much.
Once again, my apologies. I don't know how I became unmuted. But I enjoy your stories. I always do.
Thank you very much.
And your sense of humor.
Where is that?
Your sense of humor is somewhere around there. I know. I've been searching for it too.
I didn't see it. Anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed the stories. Louis, great to see you. Ronna, great to see you. Paul. I don't think you've got that one. No. Okay, cool. Good. Lucy, thank you for joining as well. And to the team at World Storytelling Cafe, I enjoyed that very much.
Paul, where are you based, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't mind at all, Rona. I'm in the middle of the Lake District. I'm in a little village, a hamlet. Do you have hamlets in the US? Yeah, tiny place called Rydal, just outside, between Ambleside and Grasmere.
Yeah, so quite near Taffy then.
Literally a mile and a half away. Yeah. And
Wow.
actually, thinking on the food links to this week tonight, I learned something. Do you know what a taffy is?
Yeah, it's kind of sweetie.
Well, you
It was the
don't bother
word.
me.
It was the wordle word. The
It
sweet.
was the Wordle. Yeah.
Yeah.
The wife said. I said, well, it's a Welshman, of course. She said, no, this is an American Wordle.
In New England, when we went on a tour there, we went on the 6 New England states. They had saltwater taffy kind of hanging. Baba, see, you'll be able to explain this. It's kind of like barley sugar, something like that, but it's soft and it kind of drips down like this.
It's soft. It's tacky. In other words, very, very sticky.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on where you are, there are different recipes. Saltwater taffy, a lot of people love it. I happen not to be a great admirer of taffy, but more to those who do like it.
Wow.
Yeah, but the saltwater taffy, I loved it. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. And I think that was in a place called Kippery or something like that. Kippery. It's the first place, the first town into Maine when you leave Massachusetts. I think that one is. I don't remember them in the order anyway. Where
Well,
is
I know this about saltwater
Kittery?
taffy.
Kittery is the name of the place.
You can't chew saltwater taffy and tell stories at the same time.
No.
No, I would think that if you are doing anything with saltwater taffy, it should just be, consenting adults with the doors closed, nothing else.
Hey, I'm gonna remind you what you reminded me. This is a family-friendly show.
Yeah, and I'm making sure that children are never corrupted and end up with cavities galore.
Hey.
Keep your
2 miles that way, we have a world famous confectionery known as Grasmere gingerbread.
Yes.
and not too far the other way, you have Kendall mint cake.
We do, yeah. Grasmere gingerbread has been made for over, well, about 170 years. The recipe is so secret, it's hidden in the vaults of a local bank.
Whoa.
Wow.
Hey, Paul,
Just like the recipe for Iron Brew.
Paul, remind me where you located.
Unknown.
I recently took some American tourists through the graveyard by Wordsworth's grave, and we went around the back of the gingerbread shop where they still bake it, and I introduced them to gingerbread sniffing.
Wow.
Through the vents. It's legal and it's delicious.
Gingerbread sniffing.
I've been in that shop where they sell it.
Yeah.
I've bought some and brought it home. It's lovely.
It's very good.
Very nice.
Do you think taffy is export?
Baba, say it was good to see you. Yeah. King Louis, it's great to see you with your new head on.
Thank you.
And Michael, I might see you quite soon. I'm coming up to Glasgow to see our sister soon, very soon.
Oh, good. That'd be good.
I'll give you a ring. I'll give you a ring.
Well, it's a pleasure seeing you.
There's room here.
Let's give another round of applause to Michael Kerrins
for
his wonderful stories. And also to say thank you to whoever is flying the magic carpet today. And just a quick bit of business. Alistair will be doing stories on the 20th. And we have Worldwide Story Round Sunday, June 22nd. And Claire Goodall will be June 27th. And on August 1st, there'll be a special storyteller celebrating his birthday. That's not until August 4th, but he'll be telling stories too. So now that we got the business out of the way, we can close up. And once again, Michael, thank you. I truly enjoyed your tales.
Thank you very much.
Tales.
Well done, Grant. I'll see you soon. Take
Right.
care, Lucy.
Okay.
Lots of love.
God bless.
Okay,
Bye-bye,
guys.
everybody.
Oh,
Bye,
wow.
Lucy.
Bye.
I take care.
Bye, Lucy.
Later, Louie.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Until the next time.
Oh, I like that cow. What a nice cow.
Thank you.
That's my
Yeah,
sister.
move,
That's my sister.
marvelous.
That's my sister.
You cheeky upstart.
Bye-bye.
Very moving.
All right. Yeah, that made utter nonsense, but hey,
So
we're
cheeky.
milking those jokes.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Take care, everybody.
Lots of
Take care.
love.
Take care, Louie.
Cheeky boy.
Thank you, whoever's in the World Storytelling Cafe today. I'm not sure who, because I think Waleed was ill, but thank you very much. But out of habit, C out.